podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Tactics Show with me, Ed, and the usual crowd, Dharnish and Daniel. How's it going, chaps?
All good.
Very good. Very, very good, yeah. 3 wins on the bounce. 3 W's on the bounce.
Never thought I'd see this day again.
It's the turnaround's been insane. 3 wins on the bounce since February 2024. I don't think anybody saw this coming. No one.
Yeah. Daniel has promised not to cut his hair until we've won 75 games in a row. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah. See if I can cover my full forehead at some point.
Yeah, no, it's never going to happen.
Impossible job.
Happen. Oh, dear. Well, all right. We got complaints last week for being negative about United. Even though we'd been Liverpool. Actually, we didn't. That was on the main show. All right. Very good. We've got a few things to talk about today. We're going to talk about a little bit of how United have changed their out-of-possession shape, which they very significantly have, what the press looks like at the moment, which is not aggressive, but
No.
The shape looks a bit different, some build-up patterns, what United are doing with the back three, and all of that. It's all quite positive. All right, so I think one of the most significant changes Amorim has made is in like how United press and how they drop back into an out-of-possession shape, like a 5-4-1, sometimes a 4-4-2. It helps at Old Trafford that the camera's high enough that you can see it. What did you make of that, Dharnish? And it does appear he was very aggressive. It was 16 passes per defensive action yesterday, right? So United still let Brighton have a lot of the ball before trying to tackle them. But what did you make of that?
I like how brave it was, and I like how aggressive it was. Maybe I wouldn't have been saying this if the result hadn't panned out the way it did. But they scored 2 goals from being really, really aggressive in the press. The main thing that we saw maybe first 30 minutes, first 40 minutes was whoever the Brighton striker was, whether it's Jorginho, Retta or Welbeck, De Ligt or Shaw, go follow them wherever they are.
That
to
was
the
clear,
point where they were close to the edge of the penalty area at one point because Rutter, at first, he was on the halfway line, but De Ligt followed him there, and then he came all the way into the edge of the penalty area, and Luke Shaw said, "I'm still going to follow you, by the way." Kind of like Herrera and Hazard, that famous meme where he kind of follows him everywhere.
The only time a player's ever been booked on behalf of a team that I was at that game.
Just invented it.
Herrera gets sent off because there's been various fouls by everyone, so they end up booking him. But what you say about Shaw, I was actually thinking about in a different context with De Ligt. Dare I say this? That donkey De Ligt is kind of growing on me.
Donkey De Ligt?
No, I'm messing a bit. That he's not exactly my idea of a centre-back because I want one of my main things I want in any centre-back is recovery pace, and he doesn't really have that. But if there are 3 of you, in the same way that 3 of you mean Shaw's sake and follow an opposing striker halfway down the other end of the pitch, knowing that there are 2 others, if there are 2 others, it means that a kind of organising box defender like De Ligt, who you want there partly for attitude almost as much as anything else, you can kind of wear one of those because in theory you've got 2 others to cover the other shortcomings. And so that in theory is one of the advantages of a back three, that it means that someone can go off on adventures like Shaw was yesterday because there are 2 others and most teams only play one up.
Yes, I think that's very noticeable. I mean, the 2 things, they are related. Shaw pushing into midfield, jumping into midfield when necessary, and United very significantly dropping back into this 5-4-1 or sometimes 4-4-2, and Bruno joined Sesko in the press, and Cunha dropped back onto the left-hand side all the time. I mean, it changes Cunha's role a little bit, but he's very good at that anyway. If he gets the ball in deeper situations, as we saw against Liverpool, he can run with it and break the lines anyway. So it seems to... Like, United are not giving up too many goals. I know they conceded 2 yesterday. One from a corner, and you're like, and the other was from a free kick that they took about 10 yards closer to the goal than an actual foul. Yeah.
It should have been one. But what Cunha and Mbeumo bring, and the overall structure out of possession, they not only drop deep when we have the ball, they've compacted themselves when we don't have it. So yesterday when Brighton were passing it around their defence, they were tucking in, making it really compact. The other thing as well, that along with the centre-back following the striker wherever the hell he goes, was Casemiro and Fernandes were on Ayari and Baleba. It was a 2-on-2 wherever they went as well. So all of a sudden, Brighton can't pass to their midfielders in the middle, and they can't pass to their striker either.
Yeah, but Labour and Ayeri had two fucking nightmares yesterday. They were both rubbish, weren't they? And maybe that's because they were made to be rubbish.
Made to be, and it's what I agree with what Dharnish is saying, is that because this is the problem, and it predates Amorim, that team, and predates probably Ten Hag as well. Teams just waltzing through the middle of the pitch. Mm-hmm. And yesterday was sort of the first time we found a way of stopping central progression from opponents that are looking to do that and are good at doing it. We made it really difficult for them to get through the middle of the pitch, and I think part of the way we did that was the way that we locked on when their keeper had the ball. If you look at the best bits of that press, it's quite hard to find an outball for them because everyone's where they're meant to be, and I don't know if that's better instructions or tweaks, or the players are the right players to be able to carry it out.
I think it's tweaks. I think it's tweaks in the fact that both of them now, Fernandes and Casemiro, have a really good understanding. And Casemiro, he's doing this thing that he did in Ten Hag's first season, where it's like, I'm going to stand in the right place and be in the right places just to make sure that you're going to pass around me. It's not even, he's making less tackles and he's making less interceptions, but you can see their understanding is getting better. And all of a sudden, like, nobody's mentioning Mainu being in the team. Problems go away.
Yeah,
now.
I agree. And we were just actually talking about Mainu on the main pod, that, and we're looking in terms of progression of the team, where the team goes from here. But something I also noticed yesterday, I don't know if either of you saw, did you see when Wheel Steel was on Monday Night Football?
Will Still. Wheel.
Yeah, Wheel Steel. And one of the things he was talking about that he always asks from his players is that they're never on the same horizontal line. So if you imagine a double pivot, it's never the case that they're level, because that makes moving the ball between them much harder. And I think the tweaks with Shaw going a bit further forward and Cunha particularly, also a bit in Bruno, but mainly Cunha dropping, meant that Bruno could get further forward, and he wasn't on that same line with Casemiro again. Yeah. And suddenly moving the ball forward is just so much easier, because instead of having two people static like that, they're there. And then there are passes on, and all of a sudden, if you pass it into Bruno, he's then got better angles as well. And so I felt like the way that United moved the ball through the middle of the pitch and the angles they've found was unlocked by the moving back of the 10s and the moving forward of the outside centre-backs. And that's not to say I'm not still concerned about the way the outside centre-backs can be pinned, because that did still happen yesterday. And I'm not on one with this system. Yeah. And I feel like there's more work to do in developing it for use at the top of the Premier League and the Champions League, we hope, in the future. But I am relieved and encouraged by tweaking, because it was so fucking necessary, and he waited much longer than he had to, but it feels like we're now on the path of this way of doing things is not infallible, and we need to find a way, and not just one way, but various ways of deploying the players and the system against various opponents and circumstances to make things work better. And that was definitely the best it's worked.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about Shaw jumping into midfield. I think that's been a good tweak. And 5-4-1, 4-4-2 press, then defensive block. It's working pretty well. You can kind of write off the two Brighton goals. You know, it's a set piece and it's a free kick, question mark over whether the keeper should have done better on the first one. What else did we see? Let's talk about the forwards a little bit and how the combination seemed to be working, because the Yoro, Ahmad and Bumo combination down the right-hand side looks really high quality, doesn't it? And Sesko as the main link-up forward works very well as well. Shaw, Dalot, Cunha down the left-hand side, not quite. Doesn't quite work as well. I'm trying to work out, well, apart from just explaining away is Dalot being shit, which I think is a fair explanation. Deep and tactical analysis there, it hasn't quite worked in the same way, but the link-up between Sesko, Cunha, Bruno and Mbumo is very good now.
So on the left, I guess, the question is what happens when Martinez is fit?
Yeah, he's probably straight back in the side, isn't he?
Good point. That's a good point. I think he has to go straight back in the side, because he's the only centre back who knows when to come forward 30 yards with the ball when other teams are blocking the system off. And I think that's still going to exist in certain games. I feel as though now that game was one where the Liverpool game was one where it felt like, okay, this team might have turned the corner. That game last night against Brighton was one where it's like, I think this forward line is turning a corner. It feels like the connections are coming together. Saw them doing flicks to each other, like literally back heels and flicks. But the first goal isn't necessarily anything too much about tactics. The first goal is just Šeško, Casemiro, Fernandes keeping the ball alive, and Cunha and Mbeumo, they're playing exactly like they were at Wolves and Brentford. They don't give a shit about the fact that they're at Man United. They don't care about the pressure of the foot of the shirt or anything like that. And they end up taking good quality shots from the edge of the penalty area or from inside the box. You can see that, like, because the confidence is flowing, all of a sudden all three of them are in sync and they're doing difficult things in this system. Like, Mbeumo will go take on 3-4 men, Cunha will take on 3-4 men, but then you've got maybe Casemiro.
We're still actually not getting what we thought we'd get in terms of the wide overloads cutback goal, right? The classic Amorim. We're barely seeing that at all, right? It's partly because of the change in the way, the more directness this season has changed the way that United get the ball into the final third, right? So we're not, and the fact that we really don't have good wing backs.
It's wing backs, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ahmad, I'd hope to see some of that from Ahmad at some point.
I think the connection felt good yesterday with him.
Yeah, but the thing with Ahmad, I guess, and the cutbacks is that he's always going to be cutting back on his weaker foot.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as we talked on the main show, the left side wing back is a problem. I mean, when Martinez is back, there's an option to move Shaw there. I don't know whether his body would hold up to playing that role anymore, but we know that his quality in the final third is pretty high, right? And it would be an upgrade if his body could take doing that job. And I'm not sure. Right, we've had 10 years of injuries with Shaw. Can he do it?
An hour of Shaw playing there is better, and 30 of Dallo is better than 90 of Dallo, isn't it?
Yeah, or 100. Yeah.
I think Shaw went.
He did. Yeah, he was sort of hobbling around. I don't know how serious that is yet.
So let's see with that. Let's see when Aiden Heaven maybe comes back and cements a place, because whenever he has played, he's been good in the Man United show. Got another assist yesterday.
Well, we didn't. You know what? We didn't talk about that on the main show. We forgot that Bruno's fake assist and his ability to know where Bruno would be just instinctively was incredible, wasn't it? Yeah. They had a bit of fun on Instagram, those two, Aiden Heaven and Bruno. So, nice fake, Aiden Heaven called it. I do like Heaven as a player. Just his comfort on the ball and his passing range.
In theory,
is very good. Yeah,
with him, it's going to depend on quality and mentality, because in terms of profile, if we're going to call it that, everything's there. Like, he's strong, he's fast, he reads the game well, he's good on the ball. I don't know if he could do those things to Premier League level, to like elite level, because we haven't seen yet. But if you were to describe his attributes as a player, basically everything's there. It's about, can he do them well enough, often enough, not can he do them. He's not one of those defenders where you're saying, well, he can't do this and that, so Martinez. You're like, well, he doesn't have recovery pace and he's not tall. Can he compensate for that in other areas? Well, I'm not really saying that about Heaven, because all the physical stuff is there and he's good on the ball. So all that stuff is there. It's just a matter of, can he do it to a high enough level often enough? Yeah. And don't know the answer to that.
It's funny, on last week's show, I think we all agreed that although they'd played well and they were heroes at Anfield, that Maguire and Mount would probably drop out, should probably drop out. They did for different reasons. Maguire injured. I much prefer a back three with just one of him or De Ligt and Yoro on one side of it. It does help a lot. His comfort in the channels is high. His ability to push into midfield in the build-up is high as well. But there's an interesting set of profiles of defenders there. When Martinez comes back, he's been doing individual training. He's going to be training back with the team soon. That gives him, let's say, a month before he's ready. So beginning of December, end of November sort of time before he's ready to play. It looks, let's be hopeful. You start to get a very interesting back three there, perhaps another option at left wing back. with Heaven there as well, playing the defensive cover. We haven't seen Mazraoui for a long time. What does it mean for him in the team as well? But got a good selection of defenders there that should serve us well, at least for the rest of this season. Then we'll see if Maguire stays and what they do about defensive recruits, or whether they spend all their money in midfield, which is probably more likely.
I don't think it'll be that, because we're desperate for at least one more wing back, unless Diego Leon is really good.
Yeah. And he's still looking quite raw. Yeah, his performances for the under-21s are mixed. He scored yesterday, which is something.
I'd imagine more wing backs rather than centre backs are the problem. Wing backs and midfield. Speaking of midfield, I want to give a quick shout out. Brilliant cameo from Manuel Ugarte. I have to say, fantastic cameo from Manuel Ugarte. Did not expect that. I think this is his best 15 minutes in the United shirt, because that was a crucial point of the game. We were under the pump, then we were under the cosh. There's a lot of blocks that he's putting in, some good tackles. There was one good foul that he made, I think, in the centre circle to stop the Brighton attack. There was another instance where Brighton had it in the box, and he just about managed to grab Welbeck's shirt enough. Not enough to bring him down to concede a penalty, but just enough to break up the attack. And I'll salute that. We won't forget that, my friend. I will go to that.
I'll forget it.
It was pressure heavy.
Yeah, well, nine plus the added time, but yeah, I mean, 15. I don't know. I mean, I watched the Liverpool game after this, and they somehow found 7 plus an additional 4 on the 7. It was just like, we'll just keep playing until Liverpool score. Fortunately, they did not, which made it a double good day yesterday. Well, actually, at the end of this, let's talk about Liverpool a little bit and why they've collapsed, which will be fun, and Arne Slot's reaction to it. All right. I mean, it just feels... we've had a lot of talk about the system, just generally in the narrative, and obviously on this show. Are we beginning to see the best of what this system will be, or at least covering for its shortcomings, which particularly in midfield has been a problem?
I think it's more the latter. It feels like the same system. It feels like there's better players in it, and it feels like the players that are in it, as opposed to last season, number one, they care a lot more about making this team tick. Number two, they're going above and beyond to create chances and score goals. I feel like Højlund, Garnacho and Rashford weren't really doing that. And also, number three, it's changed. The system has kind of changed. We're not really looking to make space out wide as wing backs. We still look to find space wide by sucking teams into one section and then switching it. We saw that for the first goal. But I feel like the press has tightened up, and I feel as though we're going long a lot more, and there's just more synergy created in attack, which is happening more. Also, I feel like a lot of the games last season, I have to say this, last 10 games, number one, he kind of discounted them for the Europa League final, and number two, a lot of the teams were scoring from their first shot or just one shot on target. So I feel like that's kind of changed.
I think that's true. I think that's fair also. That we were saying this earlier, that football can be a marginal game because goals are rare, and sometimes you're just on the wrong side of those margins. It doesn't mean margins, It doesn't always mean that you're dreadful and playing badly. And I do think last season we were dreadful and playing badly, but I think that's also fair to say that our opponents had, I don't know if luck's quite the right word, but the marginal things seem to go against us more often. And I'd say in the last couple of games, whilst we're busy talking about United improving, it's also the case that the marginal things have gone in United's favour, particularly in the Liverpool game. That Mbeumo's chance, if he doesn't score that and he's missed easier ones, and Salah scores his, it's a different game. And that would often be the case in the big games. It's who's got the composure to make the most of the marginal decisions. But I do think at the same time that is a fair point, that coming though United were, it's also football's a marginal game. Same like that Tottenham game. I mean, was the Bilbao game was a close game, and United were on the wrong side of it. And then earlier in the season, we see missed penalties, we see goalkeepers that don't own wrists, and those little things are now things that we're tidying up, and that's one of the main reasons we're now falling on the right side of those margins. And as the team improves, you hope that those things cease to become marginal.
Absolutely. One of the other marginal gains could be set pieces. We haven't really seen United score a lot of goals from attacking set pieces yet. No, we're not getting up to Arsenal levels. which is a lot of free goals when you're good at that. Did concede one from a corner yesterday. Xerxes, being a big man, is not able to jump. It's funny, you get a few big men. Like Fellaini was the same. He was massive and yet rarely got off the ground. Xerxes, a terrible piece of defending.
But he had quite a poor cameo. When you play against people that are smaller than you or aren't as good, you can just pluck the ball. But when you're playing against good players who might not be as tall, but they're athletic, who can time a jump, you lose your advantage unless you jump. And that's that I agree with Fellaini. Like he had that innate advantage, but there's ways of exploiting that innate advantage also.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire an energy vampire. But also they're a literal vampire. And suddenly my team is spending all their time sharpening wooden stakes and buying bulk silver and rehearsing ancient chants, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant takes insights from over 1 billion professionals to create a short list of the best fits for you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
Not awesome for Josh. And we'll see how long he stays at the club, because he's probably 5th choice in those number 10 positions at the moment.
I guess AFCON.
I was going to say, you need depth. AFCON, Mount and Xerxes probably, again, in the front three. Bruno, more forward. Minor will get more minutes.
Maybe, yeah. We do lose Ahmad and Mbumo.
I mean, Ahmad will be a bigger loss than Mbumo, I think, because we can mess things around to cover for Mbumo. We don't know anything to cover for Ahmad.
No, not at all. No,
it's not even that
Mazraoui or Dallo a right wing back, unfortunately. Yeah,
it's not even a reflection of how good Ahmad is, although he's been good the last 2 games. It's just we can't have a back five. We can't have 2 fullbacks at wing back, and we do need to find a way. And I'm sure he'll have thought of it. Don't know what he'll be planning, but he definitely needs to plan something.
Well, I think Shea Lacey training with the first team it may be an indication that he gets some game time. But I mean,
it won't be a wing back.
Who knows?
It won't be
a wing back. Not a wing back in forward areas. Yeah.
This might seem like a really stupid point, but are Morocco, they're in AFCON? No?
Yeah.
So maybe Mazraoui goes as well.
I was just assuming they're going to be in AFCON. I think they are, yeah. Just won the Under-20 World Cup, by the way, Morocco. They've got a lot of good players coming through there. Yeah, shout out to Morocco. Who knew, except all the people at Morocco FA, I guess. All right, but before we leave, can we talk about Liverpool a little bit and why they're so shit? Because I just want to enjoy this a little bit.
Well, when was the last time, I was thinking about it, when was the last time United won and Liverpool and City lost?
On the same day, same weekend.
That feels like a while, but yeah, this was a good weekend.
I thoroughly enjoyed Liverpool losing. There was a fake quote going around yesterday that from actually a Liverpool Twitter account who did numbers on this, and it said, if you rule out the Brentford goal from the long throw, it's 2-2. They didn't even try to play football. And the reason why everyone was like, is this real? Is because Slotter's been saying some stuff that sounds very much like this. And he basically said it in his press conference. We can't deal with long balls. So everyone is just going long against them.
Just so baffling. I don't get why you would... Okay, so you're in a press conference saying, yeah, mate,
here's how to beat us.
In the air. Not only is every team now going to be like, okay, go long. Every team in the Premier League, even Manchester United, they're going long. Like, so why are you in a press conference saying we cannot adapt to what the rest of the league is doing?
They all have a massive team of analysts also, anyway, so they...
Why are you so tanned?
Why is he so tanned?
Why are you so tanned? Why are you in the pizza all the time? Like, he's really tanned. Like, why are you going on holiday so much? It doesn't make
he's got a sunbed at home, unlike Daniel, who is in Ibiza all the time and has no colour whatsoever. He's basically opaque, isn't he, Daniel?
It's not that hot. It's not that hot in Ibiza this time of year. And it was
not this time of year.
You have some colour, actually, to be fair. You're decently tanned out.
I don't know. I feel like the only colour in Daniel's face is his beard fluff.
Rosy cheeks
going on there. Yeah, rosy cheeks. Yeah,
like Anita from Guess Who.
It's look. Everyone everyone has massive teams of analysts. They know the problems of Liverpool anyway. It's not like this is a surprise. It's just funny him saying it in a press conference.
And they weren't good last season, and it was obvious to see where their problems were last season, as at the back and in midfield, and they addressed everywhere else.
None of it.
They replaced two fullbacks that couldn't defend very well with two fullbacks that can't defend very well. And then they bust the rest of the money on strikers. And you look at that midfield, so Bosley, McAllister and Gravenberch, you think, okay, but we get at those fuckers. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the defence and you see, well, Van Dijk is not what he was. And Konate is unreliable. And it's just so obvious what the situation is with that team. And I was concerned when they won all those games with last-minute goals. You're thinking, oh, shit, what if they right themselves? And rather than, and because my friend is an Arsenal fan, was actually saying that he's like, this is good because they won't keep getting away with this. And I was saying, I fear that it's the other way around. They won't keep getting away with it because they won't need to. They're getting away with it here will enable them to cash it in later. But he was right. And you can't keep getting away with it. And they strengthened areas that were strong and not even in the right areas. Because I look at them, and I've said this on our pod, and that Salah's season last year reminded me of Van Persie in 12-13. It was sort of not raging against the dying of the light exactly, but it wasn't going to be possible to repeat. And it wasn't even a full season. It was a half season, same as Van Persie. It was from August to about January, February, unstoppable, ran out of form and never recovered it because they were getting on. And you can't keep playing that well. And I thought that with Salah, and I'm not making this up. I said it at the time. And they didn't replace him. They bought two players for the same position to play centre forward.
Yeah. And maybe that'll serve them well later, that strength in depth in forward areas. But yes, they feel overloaded in the wrong areas and it's an unbalanced squad, and they really should have bought a defensive midfielder and another defender. They did spend a fair amount of money on that young Italian guy whose name I forget, Giorgione, who's now got an ACL. But Van Dijk is so immobile these days, and he's great if you just launch the ball at him and he can head it away.
Yeah, still unbeatable in the air almost. But it's always everyone else's fault.
But yeah, Liverpool at the moment don't appear to be able to buy a win. They had a fortunate situation where they're playing a team that's an absolute mess at the moment in Europe. But in the Premier League, everyone is going to play this tactic until they find a solution to it, basically, Liverpool, and they've not been able to do that because they're not mobile enough either in defensive midfield areas or in central defence.
They've changed too much too quick, and I said it at the time. Go back and look at my tweets, everybody, because Twitter always does this thing where they all come up with the same answer. They couldn't believe that they got 60 million for Luis Diaz. I said it at the time. He was immense last season. Him and I think McAllister, for me, whenever I watched him, I thought they were their unsung heroes. Diaz would always drop deep, drag a defender with him, which meant that loads of other players could run in behind. Salah, a midfielder, anybody. They can't do that now because they changed Diaz. They changed. I know that they needed to change some other things, obviously. The tragic situation with Diogo Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold wanted to go in January. Fair enough. You need to change them too, and you needed to change Darwin Nunez. But then why have you also changed Luis Diaz? People keep saying, yeah, it was a good deal. That doesn't mean you need to take it. Similarly, as in Isak was available, Wirtz was available, doesn't mean you need to buy them. You're painting the Bentley gold when the engine is falling off, and then also it's like a new Bentley, and he's like, wait, what the hell? What the hell is this? I want my German model back. I want the old German model. I don't know how to make this team good. I don't know how to drive this car. And also, Daniel mentioned McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai. Them three don't play together now this season. He keeps moving Szoboszlai at right back.
He was in midfield yesterday, but yeah.
But like last season, them three in midfield were brilliant because they won so many duels. They were always getting yellow cards. And now McAllister came off the bench yesterday. So honest look, too tanned, going on holiday too much. Has a car, doesn't know how to drive it. Too many shiny new toys. Absolutely brilliant. It's very, very bleak. Honestly, I don't know how they're going to change it, but it's brilliant to watch.
I'm sure, he's not a bad coach. He'll find a solution. But he does need to find a solution. And it may involve, not playing all his forwards. They have a problem with what they're going to do with Wirtz. Is he playing left side of the front three? Is he playing, is he the number 10? I do think he's a brilliant player. I enjoyed him a lot. In the Bundesliga, he's taken a little while to adapt. That is not an unusual situation with players coming from the Bundesliga. I'm sure he'll be a success in the end, but they need to work out exactly where they're going to play him. Is he eventually Salah's replacement, or is he an orchestrator? I don't think they've worked that one out yet. I mean, Salah scored a brilliant goal yesterday, which he can do because his quality is immense, but his ability to sustain it through 90 minutes physically is not the same as it was. And it feels like they've just taken him perhaps 12 months too long, and that might have been the replacement. Maybe that would have been even too many changes. But yeah, they've definitely got some problems. Yeah. There's a lot of flawed teams in this division. City are flawed, for sure, right? And they're more vulnerable than they ever were and more reliant on Haaland than they ever were. Arsenal, brilliant defensively, best team in Europe defensively. They give away so few shots. The forwards, though, I don't know yet. I'm still I have question marks about Gyökeres up front in this league.
There's question marks about Gyökeres, but I feel like their system is too good to just not work now, and there's too much. They relied on Saka last season, and they were like, okay, let's get a Saka on the opposite wing. Let's just sign Ebericheze. And if that doesn't work, Madueke is on the bench, Trossard is on the bench. We'll sign Gyökeres and see if he scores very much.
They've got a lot of depth up there.
I don't know if that matters.
A lot of depth.
They've got too much depth, and they don't concede many goals. And if all that doesn't work, and if their depth in attack doesn't work, here presto, set piece again, ole, go for a corner, go for a free kick. I hate the fact that I like that chant, by the way. It's so stupid that I like it. But I get what you're saying about other teams being flawed. Chelsea are quite flawed. Sunderland battered them yesterday as well.
Well, they're definitely flawed at the back, Chelsea. I do think Maresca's system's sort of coming together in forward areas. I mean, they do look coherent as a side, like in terms of what he wants out of them. Garnacho scored yesterday. He's not had a very good start to the season, which many United fans are enjoying. Yeah. I don't hate. He's a dick. I don't hate him. He did behave like a child. Yeah, a petulant teenager. We'll see where his level is. I think I said it before. I thought Chelsea was a bad move for him. Not only do they have a lot of players, but basically they're just a player trading factory. So they're looking to make profit where they can on players. For what end, I'm not quite sure. So we'll see how long he stays there. It doesn't seem like the best development project for him. I guess we don't care anymore. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle having some challenges because obviously they're integrating two new forwards. Nick Voltemade is a very good player. I mean, he's so good. He's like 9 foot tall, but he doesn't play like that kind of forward at all. So I think they've got a good player there. They paid too much for him, for sure, for the output they're going to get. But he's technically very good. But just a lot of flawed teams, and which makes it very, very competitive. In the I mean, if you look at the bottom three now, they're not the teams that came up. But the depth, the depth is really, really deep now. I mean, you got Forest who qualified for Europe last season, in the bottom three basically, or near enough it. They lost again today to Bournemouth, and so they've got a real problem. They'll be on their fourth manager of the season before long. But it gives United a chance, the amount of teams that are flawed, doesn't it? To get into European places, which is what we're budgeting for.
I think it gives United a chance in terms of. I know Amorim already said in a press conference. People are telling me about top four. It's clear, by the way, that he pays attention to all the media because you wouldn't know. Yeah. You wouldn't know that if he
Ruben, we've never criticised you, mate. We love it. Your system is perfect. Come on the show and tell us about it.
I think that it's a very interesting league. I feel like Arsenal will run away with it just because
they're the least flawed.
That same thing that happened with Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, where it's like year on year they're getting better, year on year. Like it's very when someone's that good, it's very hard to reach that level, or teams have to get elite and then reach that level. So I feel like they might boring their way to the title, but below that, I think it's anybody's ball game for those positions after that.
Yeah,
City are in transition; they're relying on Haaland and Donnarumma a lot. So I think aim for top four, but at the same time, we're still only in game week 8, game week 9. So I think Give us 10 more games, and then we'll figure out how the season actually looks and how predictable the other teams will be, and then we'll go from there, because there's plenty of problems that are going to occur come the winter. Injuries. AFCON is coming. Yeah. What happens when the attack? Sheshko and Bruno and Cunha. What happens when we can't bail us out? Then we got to create ourselves.
Yes.
What happens when Casemiro gets injured? Because at the minute, again, ding, 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 bingo. Casemiro went off yesterday. What happened? We collapsed. Yeah. We needed a goal last minute to finish the season. So I can't think he's turned it around, to be honest, because in a big club like this, when the pressure is this big, it's really hard to put the brakes on. He's pulled 3 wins out of the bag. It's 5 from 7 wins now as well. Mm-hmm. They don't really. I think we've had 1 league loss at home from Old Trafford. I feel like that connection between the fans and the players is really growing. But let's just see what comes in the next 5 or 6 game weeks. Keep it up, though.
All right. On that note, we will say bye for this week. It's looking more coherent. The press makes sense. They're not the most aggressive pressing team in the league, but it's structured. The out of possession stuff looks way better. Ammo Ball is apparently flexible. We didn't believe it. He took way too long. He could have been fired. He was too dogmatic in saying it has to be my way or the highway. It nearly got him fired. I'd say he's very, very lucky that the people who appointed him needed to save face by not firing him too quickly. Or maybe they were right all along. We'll find out. 3 wins does not make this a good team, but he's made changes in important situations that have tactical changes that have made an improvement to the side. So that is all good. We get Forest next, who are not in a good situation, and Spurs after that. And then you look, we've played a lot of top teams running into November, December. We've got a run of winnable next 6 games. You look at them and go, they could all be winnable. Yeah. So
a nice stop. I would say try and beat one of Forest and Tottenham. There's 2 low blocks of death there.
Yeah. All right. Very good. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Dharnish. Thank you, Daniel, who is no longer here. And bye from me as well. Catch you next time.